गोयल जी और अमित अग्रवाल जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much. Respected Shri Madhav Lal ji, Secretary MSME, Shri Amarendra Sinha, DC MSME, Shri Amit Yadav ji, Industry Commissioner, Shri Dave from NMCC, Shri Vipin Sahani from QCI, Shri Ramesh Pandey from MSME, and officials of MSME, and the distinguished delegates who have gathered here in this national workshop. At the very outset, I will like to thank the Ministry of MSME for giving us this innovative work for becoming an NMIU for implementation of Lean Manufacturing Competitive Scheme in 100 clusters as a pilot scheme. And as we have already known from the feedbacks from the horse's mouth, from the users, from the industries, that this is one of the most effective and most useful schemes out of the 10 schemes of NMCC or MNCP. Now, this scheme was started about 4 years back, late 2009 to be precise. In this pilot phase, we tried our best to create awareness to begin with, because that time it was very new concept and most of the people were not knowing about it, be it the industries or even the consultants. The consultants were not available and the information was not available very much, because the thing has been copied or migrated from Toyota manufacturing system. So it was not known to us in a very big way. But we tried our best in organizing large number of awareness creation programs with all stakeholders. Then after that, about 120 awareness programs were done, and we had covered 136 clusters. But we found that only 25 clusters could agree. Clusters from different sectors agreed to go for it. And after that, mini clusters were formed comprising of 8 to 12 units. We tried to find out or identify that who are the actually clusters which are more proactive and where implementation will be easier in the beginning, when nothing was known about this concept. So we identified them, and about 112 SPVs were formed during 3 to 4 years. Then there was a big problem of engaging lean manufacturing consultants after the SPVs were formed, and we started empaneling the lean manufacturing consultants, and we could successfully empanel about 170 to 190 consultants with us. Then, of course, their biodata were screened, their experiences were sought, and then with the consultation of the nodal officials from the SPVs, the selection procedure was undertaken. But onus was on the SPVs, because they had to get the work done from the LMC. So onus was on the SPVs to finally select the lean consultant. The implementation then started with 5 phases. To begin with, the first phase was to submit a DSR, which has to be approved by NMIU, that is NPC. So this DSR was the most crucial stage, and a lot of difficulties started coming in, because the precision of the DSR was not there. The specifics were not actually spelled out properly. The present situation was not known because no data was available. So people were in dark actually, how to forecast that what could be the improvement after one year, after the 5 phases are done. So data were not there, and then procedures were not there for data collection. The targets could not be set. So it took a lot of time for approval of the DSR, because that is the basic thing. Once the DSR was approved and consultants started implementing the work, it was divided into 4 phases. Each phase, the targets have to be fulfilled as spelled out, short-term goals and long-term goals. So this was the modus operandi. And it was quite successful because as people already have told that so much of benefits they could get after the implementation of this. It comprised of 3-tier implementation structure consisting of mini cluster at the bottom level, then NMIU, that is NPC, and screening and steering committee. So we are very grateful to DC MSME for their continual guidance. Actually, in between, the process slowed down a lot of units dropped out, and a lot of units when SPBs were formed, they did not pay their due because it is in PPP mode. So that was another difficulty. 20% of the LMC's charges had to be deposited by the unit holders. So there was a lot of hue and cry because they were not knowing that what benefits they are going to get, why they should shell out their money from their pocket. So these problems were there. And because of particularly Mr. Amarendra Sinha's guidance and his facilitation, that we could again regenerate ourselves and start implementation. And that is how we could complete about 58. Already all 5 phases have been completed in 58 clusters, and another 2 have just completed, so which is not reported here. All the details are given in the compendium which has been distributed to you. The various kinds of tools are there, as you know, as lean manufacturing techniques, but the most commonly tools which have been implemented in most of the clusters are 5S, because that is the simple one and it gives results very fast. So 5S, visual management systems, it was very attractive and people got convinced because it was looking very nice and it made their life very easy. TPM was also implemented, not in all clusters, but a few of them where, of course, it depends on the capability of the consultant also, because TPM is little a higher order implementation technique. QC tools were used, then Kaizens were there. More than 7,500 Kaizens we could get, and out of that 5,000 Kaizens could be implemented with the teamwork. And then in lot of clusters, layout changes were made to smoothen the workflow, and that created a lot of availability of space, which was a big problem for them, because it was very congested, layout was not proper, and the cycle time was also very high. Manufacturing lead time was high, so those could be tackled. And then inventory management, as just now from Reva Industries they said that this is really a very important thing. It is hidden actually money which is not invested, and we are losing a lot of opportunity cost. The inventory carrying cost is 33% nowadays, so that is a very big issue. Out of the 25 clusters, from 10 clusters we formed majority of the mini clusters, and those 10 clusters were engineering and fabrication, auto component, light engineering, and then apparels and garments, food processing, foundry, white goods, machine tools, hand tools, and plastics. And it was spread all over the country. But the majority of the response we got from the states like Delhi and NCR and Maharashtra. They are the states, and Tamil Nadu. So these 3 states actually contributed a lot in giving us the clusters. Followed by Gujarat, UP and Punjab. And from all other states we could not get that much of these clusters. And just I would like to highlight here that some of the states where we scored blank, like J&K, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa and Sikkim, where none of the clusters could be formed. So that is a failure from our side. The number of clusters started implementing 89, but till now 60 could complete, about 60 could complete. And number of employees trained is more than 10,000. So that is a big achievement, because this was one of the biggest hurdles of implementation of lean in SMEs, because the training was not there. People were not trained. The skill level were very low, and the attitudinal problem were there. The mindset was not there to implement these things. And the annual savings works out to be 60 crores from these 60 clusters, and it just matches with the figure that you have shown, 1 crore per cluster, so it is coming like that. And the salvage value from the scrap, that was one of the big issues, and very lucrative for the people to understand, and 3 crores were saved by selling this scrap, which was not useful. It was lying idle and creating bottleneck in the shop floor. The production levels could be increased by 10% on an average, as you said 50% in that organization, in your that Faridabad cluster. But on an average, it is about 10%, and this is by increasing the capacity utilization and implementing TPM. Because breakdowns were eliminated to a very great extent. Then space reclaimed from productive work by 5S was about 10%. Increase in inventory turnover ratio was 25%, which is a very big saving. Quarterly rejects reduced to 22% by applying QC tools. The reduction in manufacturing lead time was of the order of 5 to 30% by decreasing the cycle time. Improvement in OEE. So not many people will understand OEE, but as now we are going for the next phase, I think this is a very, very important parameter, overall equipment effectiveness, and which could be raised to 15%. The scope is beyond 15%, so we'll see that this will be more improved more. So these were the benefits of this scheme, and there were some problems which we encountered, and that is why there was a delay in completing the project, because project was conceived for implementation in 1 year, but it took a lot of time. Obviously the reasons are there. The different reasons are like this. Formation of SPV was the first bottleneck. It was difficult to bring 8 to 12 units together due to cultural attitude of units, and mini clusters were hesitant to put in 20% of the LMC cost. There was fear of sharing their technical processes because they feel competition from each other, and trade secret wise they did not want to share. And minimum requirement of units not satisfied. So the number of units were 8 to 12. So we tried to get some 10 to 12 units to start with, because there was a possibility that some units will drop out. So that was a big problem, and along the way of implementation also, quite a good number of clusters were dropped because of this problem, because we reached less than 8. So according to the scheme, it was not permitted, and LMC was not paid. So a lot of problems came because of this. Consultant selection wise, there were a lot of problems, because those days consultants availability was not known and they were not there. So NPC took a big lead in training 400 LMCs. That is off the way of this scheme. We did it on our own. So from our Chennai office all over the country, 400, because we were not getting these LMCs. So how to implement? So there were a lot of difficulties, in teething trouble in that phase. And then delays were there in getting proper proposal from the consultants was there, and there was a range of fees for various sectors, and they have to be there in that range, the payment of the consultant. So a lot of negotiations are required, and there, although SPV was there to select the consultant, but it has to be satisfied by the NPC by following GFR. Now one can appreciate that once you follow GFR and go for tendering and all these things, so a lot of time is killed because of that. Selection of consultants also took a lot of time. And then there was a problem in that phase that the tripartite agreement had to be signed, and that also took some time because of the formalities. Now during the implementation stage, there was delays because, first of all, submission of DSR, it was not precise, and it was generic, sketchy, no targets were there. Then action plan not properly detailed. MBRs we received, they were incomplete, so again the work has to be repeated, again inspection has to be carried out. And there were addition and deletion of units during the implementation phase. Some problems were encountered, like CEO not giving time, data not available, LMC not putting the days properly. Some of the LMCs, of course, were negligent and did not have manpower for putting them across the selected units of the mini cluster. And data not generated as per LMC's advice. So those were the problems, and untrained workforce. But then we are highly satisfied that at least we could have some breakthrough and reached up to certain level. And we are grateful to MSME for reposing confidence on us and extending this scheme in the 12th plan and for upscaling this to 500 mini clusters. So we are extremely thankful for reposing the confidence and faith on National Productivity Council. We will endeavor for giving our best services so that in the next phase also we get more productivity gain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Banerjee, for explaining the progress in the cluster after lean implementation scheme and problems faced in. Friends, अगर आप SMEs को प्रेजेंट ग्लोबल सिनारियो में मार्केट में रहना चाहते हैं तो आपको कम्पिटिटिव बनना पड़ेगा, और अगर आप कम्पिटिटिव रहना चाहते हैं तो आपको लीन अडाप्ट करना ही पड़ेगा। और लीन की क्या माइक्रो स्मॉल में रिलेवेंसी है उसके बारे में प्रकाश डालने के लिए हम अब अनुरोध करते हैं श्री विपिन साहनी जी को QCI से।
कैसे करते हैं आगे चलिए मैं इसी से चला रहा हूँ। Jai Hind to all of you. Respected Shri Madhav Lal, Shri Amrinder Sinha ji, Mr. Amit Yadav, Dr. Chakravarti, Mr. Pandey, and other distinguished members of the audience. I work with an organization called QCI, or the Quality Council of India, which is the national accreditation body, and it is working as an extended arm of the government in the quality arena through its various accreditation and capacity building initiatives. I'm sure many of you would not be aware of what Quality Council of India is, so I'll just take, briefly just take a minute to tell you about my organization. Quality Council of India has been set up under the cabinet decision as a non-profit autonomous body. It was a joint initiative of the Government of India and the industry. Our mission, quality for the national well-being, has been coined by none less than Dr. Kalam. He said that till the quality percolates down to each and every element of the society, till the common man is benefited, it's not only the industry, but even the citizen of the country is benefited through your initiatives, you cannot call yourself as, that you have met your mission. So it's a continuing mission for us, through which we are working with various ministries, various government initiatives to reach that. We are governed by a council of 38 members, and our chairman is appointed by the Prime Minister's office. Incidentally, Mr. Ajay Shankar was also the chairman of Quality Council of India from 2007 to 2010. And currently we have Mr. Saurabh Chandra, whose secretary DIPP is also the current chairman of Quality Council of India. As the name suggests, we are not only working in the area of conformity assessments, but also in the areas relating to hospital healthcare, testing and calibrations, industrial training institutes. Incidentally, Ministry of Labour and Employment has made it mandatory now for the industrial training institutes to seek NABT accreditation before it can get the NCVT affiliation or the stamp of the government. We are also working in environment, accrediting environment impact assessment consultant, blood banks, Ayush centers. We've initiated works at the ground level with panchayats to build a kind of a quality culture right at the ground level. And our work is totally aimed towards, as I said, our mission for the national well-being. We have been working with the Ministry of MSME for quite a long time. In fact, we also contributed to the background paper for the first 5-year plan for submission to NMCC, And thereafter, we've been working on various initiatives, conducting awareness programs, cluster development, training of ITI teachers, polytechnic teachers, and currently we are also working on development of accreditation criteria for business membership organizations. And this initiative is being supported by Ministry of MSME. We've also been appointed along with National Productivity Council as an NMIU for the Lean Cluster project under the 12th five-year plan. We are happy to extend our relationship in this particular area, and we endeavor that we will be partnering with international world-renowned quality organization for institutionalizing the best practices in this particular area. Sorry. Before I proceed, last night I was just, trying to get some data on the international organizations and what gains they have, or what benefits that they have gained through implementation of lean manufacturing tools. Interestingly, I came along a report by McKinsey. It's a 2000 and 2012 report which talks about MSME in emerging markets, and it estimates $350 billion opportunities for the banks in the BRIC nations, particularly related to MSME sector. So there are a lot of international organizations, and the paper argues that the bank has to step up their efforts to serve micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in emerging markets, and it has quoted certain reasons. But one of the main reasons that it has focused on is innovations in technology, risk assessment, and business model are increasingly facilitating the efforts of MSME. So it's an opportunity for MSME now. And there is a quantum of 20% growth in the investments that the bank will be making, extending their support to the MSME, provided they can showcase these best practices that they are following. So it's an opportunity for MSMEs to move ahead. As Mr. Sinha also stressed on, that our earlier, what were the traditional or the conventional area of competitiveness are no longer valid. That is the labor cost or the low cost of this thing. It is a competitive world, is a dynamic world, and until unless you change, until unless you cut down all the wastages through the lean manufacturing tools, you would not be able to survive in the market. If we see today, MSME constitute 90% of the total enterprise in most of the economies. And in India, they account for 80% of the total number of industrial enterprises, with a produce of 8,000 value-added products. So look at the kind of an impact that it will make on our GDP. And its employment potential is at low capital cost, which we have to build upon. There are 13 million MSMEs in India employing 31 million people. So easily the single largest contributor in terms of employment. But to achieve a sustained rate of growth, the manufacturing sector needs to build and maintain competitiveness. And this is one of the tools through which we can do so. I'll just briefly touch upon the issues relating to the MSMEs, and although before me, a lot of success stories have been shared with you. But I'll just like to reiterate, some of the salient features of the lean manufacturing. The two areas which we all are aware of the problems that the MSMEs are facing, but I'll just focus on two areas. That's a suboptimal scale of operations and the supply chain inefficiencies, which, this particular tool can focus upon. So lean manufacturing aims at elimination of waste in every area of production. Customer relations, product design, supplier network, factory management. On the left, on my left and your right, maybe, no, your left also, if you see, this was a traditional model at one point of time, where cost plus profit used to determine the price. But today the customer is the one which is determining the price. He's not willing to pay more. So much of a competition in the market. What does the lean thinking lead you to? The price is more or less stabilized today, if you see internationally, of most of the products. How are you going to get more profit? It's a cost which you have to act upon. And how do you reduce the cost? By eliminating the waste. So it's anything. time, cost, work that adds no value in the eyes of the customer. Lean shows you how to recognize and eliminate waste and how the way of work is done. The speaker previous to me, Mr. Banerjee, has already touched upon these 7 deadly wastes: value-adding activity, defects, inventory, overprocessing, overproduction, waiting, motion, transport. And as my colleague from the industry said, underutilization of people is the main cause of worry today. So, as the Japanese say, it's the muda. Waste or the muda is anything that adds cost or time without adding value. This is what we have to act upon. Broadly, 0 breakdowns, 0 delays, 0 defects, 0 paper, 0 accidents, 0 inventory. The list can go on. It's for you to eliminate. If I just see a curve, as you keep on reducing your cost, your sales increases, and that increases your profitability in the market. So the lean reduces total cost, enabling you to maintain or lower your prices and increase market share, which helps you to increase the business. As a friend has got an order from the sale. So broadly, there are 4 goals of lean: improve quality, eliminate waste, reduce time, and reduce total cost. We have touched upon these benefits. But it can create a flexible and efficient business and manufacturing processes, and also manage your total cost, providing you a fair return of investments to all your stakeholders. So it's a proven company-wide systematic approach. It gives you a competitive advantage in today's dynamic environment. So I strongly urge the participants from the industry to take up this tool, come up into a cluster, and take benefit of the strong initiatives that the Ministry of MSME is taking in this direction. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू मिस्टर सहारी। अब हम आज के गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर श्री अमित यादव जी से निवेदन करते हैं कि वो अपने विचार लेन के संबंध में प्रस्तुत करें।
Good afternoon, and at the outset, Mr. Madhavlal, the MSME, and the guests and the participants for this program. I have nothing to add to it, but I have a pleasure of knowing that Okhla industrial area and the people from Okhla are part of this presentation, and in the afternoon session they would be sharing their experiences. Delhi has one of the cluster going on in this area, and we are proud to be associated, the government of NCT, with the MSME in this endeavor. And I hope that this, as Mr. Amren Sinha was saying, that clusters be added in Chennai. Why can't we also add more clusters in Delhi? And I think so, if you require any support from the industry department, that would be always coming to you. Thanks.